We got some, yeah, we got another drink for you. We have an awesome person here to talk to y'all. Let's give a round of applause for Rev Mingo.
Good morning. My name is Rev Mingo. I'm the senior pastor of Christ Temple Full Gospel Baptist Church. I'm also the founder of the Evanston Youth Association, Evanston Rites of Passage, Evanston Bulldogs. Anybody know about the Bulldogs? Oh yeah, I know. Listen, the young man who just raised his hand, stand up. I don't know if you guys know anything about him, but if he keeps his grades up, if he keeps his head on his shoulder, he'll be playing pro football one day. And I didn't know he attended the school, but he was the most valuable player in the Evanston Bulldogs team this year. And they won the United Football League Super Bowl on a touchdown that he ran.
All right now.
You know, his father played for me when his father was 12 years old. And so it's good to see someone bring their son back to us, that we might be able to mentor them also. I mentioned a few things that I've done. I'm also the chaplain for the city of Cincinnati. I'm the homicide chaplain for the city of Cincinnati. In other words, whenever there's a shooting, whenever there's a murder in Cincinnati, my phone rings. I've got a staff of 12 young men and women who work with me. We do the grief counseling. We do the funeral arrangements if the family does not have insurance. And we do everything we can so they can bury their loved ones with dignity. How many of you watched the news this morning? Okay. In the news this morning, it mentioned a young man by the name of Terrence Smith. 10 years ago, Terrence Smith played football for me. Last night, Terrence was murdered on the corner of Lincoln and Gilbert. And it's one thing that we hear a whole lot of, and it's just a three-word sentence, and somebody said, "Not my child." Not my child. And that's not only the victim's family saying this, but when someone is apprehended and charged with a homicide, their parents always say, "Not my child." I don't know if a lot of you know what's going on out in the streets. I grew up in the streets of Avondale. Me and three of my buddies back in 1966, we formed A1. A1 from day one. Anybody heard of A1? We formed A1 back in 1966. And somebody said, "Dad, that was a long time ago." Well, I'm 69 years old. And they said, "He don't look it, no, I'm in excellent shape." And you know, you have to be in shape, basically, if you want to live. How do I stay in shape at 69 years old? Number one, I have never smoked a cigarette in my life. I've never smoked a cigarette in my life. Number two, the last drink I had was in November of 1982. Somebody said, "You ever smoked any herb?" I smoked herb when I was younger, when I was in the Marine Corps. I'm a Vietnam veteran. They say I'm permanently disabled, but I don't believe it. And the stuff that I smoked is not the stuff they smoking now. The Marine Corps got the best drugs. Now, the stuff that they're handing out now on the streets will kill you because it's laced with so much stuff. Don't ruin your health and your life by experimenting with drugs. I've got a son, Stephen. Stephen is 49 years old. I was 18 when Steve was born. Stephen is 49 years old. He'll be 50 soon. Stephen's down the street at what they call the Lewis Center. Stephen got high one day at a party when he was 21 years old, and he still messed up over that same high. Nobody knows what happened, what he got hold to. He started acting erratic. And so Stephen's been in and out of medical facilities and penitentiaries for the last 20-something years. All because he decided to experiment with something. All because he decided that he would follow someone else and do basically what they were doing, trying to do drugs, trying to do this, trying to smoke, trying to be cool. I consider being cool. I'll be 70 years old next year. And I'm in perfect health. I think that's cool. It's cool because I'm drug-free, I'm alcohol-free, my mind is not clouded. I went through my changes when I was your age. As I say, I'm also a bishop in the Full Gospel Baptist Church of America. I'm a senior pastor. I'm the outreach program manager for SERVE, Cincinnati Initiative to Reduce Violence. I'm the homicide chaplain, and I'm also an ex-felon. I spent from 1974 to 1978 in the penitentiary here in Ohio. And I thought that my life was over. I didn't think I'd have another opportunity. And I just want to let you know, not everybody gets a second chance at anything. There are too many young men and young women who don't get a second chance. There are too many things out there that you can run into that you would never, ever recover from. If you ride in the car with one of your guys, one of your girls or whatever, and they light up, what do? You tell them to let you off at the next stop. Because if the police pull you over, everybody in there is going somewhere at your age. Life is too short to spend in misery and with nothing. I've been shot 3 times. I've got a metal plate in the back of my head. I still got one in the side. You probably see the move mark for it. And my right knee was shattered. Not everybody gets another chance. And so what I'm trying to tell you today is this. Enjoy being young. Enjoy being young without drugs. Enjoy being young without smoking. Enjoy being young without putting yourself in situations that can cause you your life. Terrence was a good kid. He came from a good family. But he was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Where is the right place? You can make anywhere the right place. It depends on where you are mentally and where you are spiritually. How many of you really love yourself? Now, I want to let you know, there's a song years ago that said the greatest love of all is learning to love yourself. If you love yourself, you won't do anything to hurt you. If you love yourself, you start making decisions that would benefit you not just right now, but for the rest of your life. Not everybody in this room is going to college, but everybody in this room can realize their dreams and be successful in whatever they want to do, because you need to realize when God created you, he put something in you that nobody can bring out but you. And you got to be able to do the best that you can. I mentioned that his father played football for me. He played football for 11 and 12. Me, and people say I'm bragging. In my opinion, I'm the greatest football player ever lived. The reason I didn't go to the pros because I was dumb, I was stupid. I dropped out of school in the 12th grade, went into the Marine Corps, and ended up getting shot 3 times. It's the decisions that you make now that can basically determine where you will spend the rest of your life and in what kind of shape, what kind of condition. Nothing wrong with going into the service. But I was stupid enough to go into the service in the middle of a war. Did not get drafted, I joined. And as a result, it ended my football career, but it didn't end my life. As I say, I got into a lot of things. I got into a lot of trouble. I ended up in the penitentiary because of some bad choices that I made. But one thing I never, ever have done, I've never tried to drag anybody into anything with me. Whatever your friend is doing, whatever you are doing, don't try to bring somebody else into it with you. You need to say those words, I love you, but I'm not going to be with you on this. I love you, but I know that's wrong. I love you, but I got to think this thing over. A lot of you are going to be making some serious decisions within the next year that can basically affect the rest of your life. I come from a family, and I'm going to be through in a minute because I have to get back over. I got to go visit Terrence's family, the young man who got killed. I come from a family of 26 kids. 15 boys and 11 girls. In order of birth, I'm the 6th oldest son, and right now I'm the oldest son. 4 of my brothers have been victims of homicides over the years. I know pretty much about what goes on in the streets. I know just about every drug dealer in Cincinnati. I know who their mules are. I know who their bag men are. I know pretty much what's going on. Myself, I've got 11 kids. 8 boys, 3 girls. My oldest is 51, my youngest is 36. And one thing I tell them, love yourself enough not to hurt yourself. You're about to move into a very competitive world. And you can't just be good enough, you gotta be better than enough. You have to stand out, you gotta walk forward with confidence. You've got to know that whatever's in you is greater than what's on the outside of you. And whatever's in you is what God has put in you. How many of you belong to a church? And I'm not trying to convert anybody this morning. Amen. And some people here that belong to churches won't even raise their hands. It's nothing to be ashamed about. It's something basically to be proud of. That you're moving in a direction that can help give you some direction. I wish I could stay a little bit longer. There's a whole lot I want to say, but as I say, I've got to make an appointment this morning. I have to meet with some people. You know, Terrence was a nice kid. He was an outstanding young man. All the ability in the world. But he ended up in the wrong place at the right time. Someone set Terrence up. Terrence had a good job. At 22 years old, Terrence even had a Lexus. And so they killed Terrence and they took his car. And they took his money. And they took his future. Don't put yourself in a position where you can lose it all because you're not thinking correctly. Where you can lose it all because you're hanging out with the wrong people. Learn how to truly, 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 truly love yourself. And if you love yourself, everything else will fall in. Years ago, we were having basically a talent show, and they asked somebody to come up and basically do a little miming. They were doing miming. And they asked me to come up and basically express, because I tell everybody I love myself. The Bible tells me that he that loveth his wife loveth himself. And I got a beautiful wife. Y'all ought to see her. You wouldn't believe she's in her 60s. And I made up a little poem. The little poem says, I love myself, I think I'm grand. I sit in the movies, I hold my hand. I put my arms around my waist. And if I get fresh, I slap my face. Some of y'all realize what I said later. But this time I've got to get going. I have a lot of things to do this morning. Got to meet with the family. And I just pray that I won't have to meet with any of your families. Because the only families I meet with are homicide victim families. The only ones I work with on a constant basis are homicide victim families. As I said, I'm one of 26 kids. 4 of my brothers older than me have been victims of a homicide. The other one died of AIDS. And so I became big brother, big uncle, and head of the family. Mama's deceased, daddy's deceased. I don't have any uncles or aunts left. And so I'm thrust into a leadership position. Think about your future. Learn how to love yourself. Don't let anybody else tell you what to do unless there's someone who's authorized or have the ability to tell you what to do. Don't worry about anybody. They make fun of what you had on. How many of you ever worn shoes to school that didn't have any bottoms on them? So wore out that your feet are almost on the ground. See, some of us have. Most of you come from homes where your parents are sacrificing a whole lot just so you can have what you have. I didn't wear anything with anybody's name on it until I got about 12 years old, and I got a t-shirt that said "Fruit of the Loom." Everything else was it wasn't name brand, it wasn't anything like that. But I survived on what they could provide for me. So I've got to get out. I thank you for your attention for the few minutes that I was here. I'm not all together here. Like a lot of things on my mind. Images of Terrence keep flashing before me. Never let it be said that you're doing things that are self-destructive. Learn how to love yourself. When you learn how to love yourself, you begin to love the God that made you. And the main problem we have out in the streets right now is people don't love themselves. And because they don't love themselves, they don't have any problem in killing something that looks like them. Learn how to love yourself. Learn how to love your maker. Learn how to love life. I thank you for your attention.
Let's give it up to Rev Mingo, everybody.